Welcome in that third video about the stadium tutorial within Golem. In the previous video we've seen how to convert a Maya character from scratch to a Golem character. We've also seen how to import motions and replay those motions on that character. And within that video I will show you how to make a quick simulation scene that you will be able to use as a reference within every shot which will need a stadium. So as always, when starting a new Golem simulation, we'll start by creating an entity type node in which we'll load the character file we've just created, so the stadium character, Golem character file. And the Golem prompt us to load the shaders as well, because once again, the shaders are not going to be stored within the Golem character file, so they need to be imported from another scene. So within the stadium character, this is my T-pose Maya scene with my character and the shaders. So I just import that within my scene. Okay, so let's save that scene as scene, and we'll reference that scene later in our shots. So this is my character holding the shaders, etc. And this is my entity type node here. And starting from this, I want to populate my scene to just assign a couple of behaviors and see how it's going on. So I'm going to create a pop tool. It's not really important the way I'm going to set up my character, so I can just quickly increase the distance, maybe invert this and this so it looks more like a stadium bench, a bit closer to a stadium bench. And when I'm happy with that tool, but once again, it's not really important what's going to be the position of my characters here, I press create. Now I can just run the scene, and I've got my characters here appearing. So for each slot, I've got my characters. It's following the assets repartition we've been doing earlier, and it's also loading the textures, taking a while to load the textures. So okay, I'm quite happy with that. Maybe I can change a bit the distance between my characters. Even if it's not important, I want to actually see how my characters react and how they look like. So I'm just going to change quickly the distance here, replace the pop tool, and now it's better. Okay, so let's assign a couple of behaviors. So we converted some motions earlier, so we may want to use those motions now. So amongst the different motions we converted, there are some set animations. So I'm just going to drag and drop a motion behavior here, double click on it, and I'm going to load those motions I've actually converted. So I go within Golaem motions, and so this is the one we exported in the previous video, and I actually exported another one here, which is another sit and watching animation, just a idling and sit animation. Just for the sake of it, I'm going to rename my behavior as sit, so it will be easier to read that a bit later. So this is going to be sit characters, and within those sit characters, if I play the sim, I'll see that all my characters sit. They play either the sit watching 1 or the sit watching 2. You can see they're at the same frame, so I can change this. I can change the start person, so they just pick a random frame in the whole duration of the animation. And I can also change the speed ratio of the animation to speed it down a bit or speed it up a bit, something like this. Okay, so now they got a random frame. You may notice that they're not exactly on a terrain. Right now we're flying. It's because I haven't defined any terrain in that scene. So I'm going to just create a default terrain, which just says that there's a default plane at the scene origin. And as soon as I do that, and as soon as I've computed the footprints in my animations, I should get my footprints standing on the floor correctly. So okay, not bad. I also have another kind of animation, which are standing animations. So I'm going to bring another behavior here. Within that motion behavior, I'm going to play a stand and watching animation. Once again, I'm going to change the start percent, speed it down a bit, and speed it up a bit as well. And I want to randomize the utilization of that motion. So I want some of the characters at the beginning of the sim to decide either if they're going to be sit, either going to be stand. So I'm going to rename that node as well, stand. And to randomize the picking of that clip, I'm actually going to use the random operator here. So there are multiple ways to actually randomize an animation within the same within a behavior or within a behavior graph. So I showed you one right earlier. Here I loaded two motions within the same behavior. So I've got a sit watching 1 and sit watching 2. So if I just put them in a motion behavior, half of my character which will play that behavior will decide to play this motion, the other half will decide to play that motion. So here you don't have any choice, and the parameters you apply are going to be the same for each of those motions. If you want to decide the weighting, I'd recommend using the random operator. So the random operator, you can connect as many nodes as an output, and within the random you can decide here with the weighting system. When you select the random node, you can decide how many characters will sit. So I can say, okay, I want twice more characters sitting than characters standing. And as soon as you do that and you run the sim, you'll get some characters standing and some characters sitting. So, okay, not bad. One thing I want to fix is that you may notice that here, even if I populated my characters in the middle of the slots, when my characters are sitting, their feet are actually moving. So you can see some characters are actually, the sitting characters are a bit forward than the standing character. This is going to be a problem a bit later when I'm going to place my characters, because some characters will be placed on the seat and some characters will just sit on the seat. So what I may want to have is say, okay, my sitting characters, that would be nice because I'm going to put slots where the seats are, but my standing characters, I would like them to move a bit forward before the simulation starts. So it's pretty easy to do that. Just in front of your standing animation, what you may want to do is asking the characters to move forward. So what a better way to move forward than just playing a walking animation? So once again, I'm gonna just drop a motion behavior here, put it here, and within that motion animation, I'm gonna load a walking animation. So I haven't converted a walking animation, but I have one into the character pack. So if I go within the Golaem character pack, but it can be your own animation. You don't even need to have moving feet and that kind of stuff. You just need to have some translation on the root here. So I go within Golaem, motions, locomotion, and walk normal animation here. And my walk normal animation is just an animation with some forward translation on the root and some animation on the rest. So what if I do that and run the sim? I'll get my characters, some sitting, some walking, and they never stop walking. Well, the reason for this is I haven't defined anything yet regarding stopping. So let's rename that node and let's check what's happening. So if I click on the character, I'm able to see its visual feedback. So I can see what is posture, some couple of attributes here, and also what's the behavior is playing right now. So it's a good way to actually debug what's going on, so you can see which part of the branch you decided to go, which behavior is right now playing, and that can help you figuring out what's going wrong. So if we rewind the sim, play the sim, we'll see that it picked the standing branch in which it should start walking and just stays and is stuck into that walking step. So not sure if you've been introduced to that yet, but on every behavior within Golaem, on the left side and the right side, there are two arrows which we call triggers. So on the left part of the walk behavior, there's a trigger which is called the starting trigger. So when does that behavior start? So that behavior starts and the condition is true. It means that it's always returning true, which means that it's always starting. And if we're looking at the stopping condition is false. So when does it stop? That returns false all the time. So it means that they never stop. That behavior never stops. So it means that it never goes through that arrow here and never plays that standing animation. So one thing we may want to do is saying, okay, I want to play that motion behavior just for a couple of frames. So a couple of frames can be decided by changing the trigger. So instead of using that trigger here, I'm going to use a motion time trigger. I can right click on it, set it as root. Setting as root means that you can create as many trigger graphs here and decide which part of the graph or which graph you'd like to evaluate. So here, the trigger I want to evaluate is that motion time trigger. So how long should I play that motion behavior? Maybe I should play it for, I don't know, 25% of the duration of the animation. And I can just quickly, prototype my sim. So now I've got some of my characters which are standing, which are moving forward, and they're moving forward quite at a nice distance. And well, even if you're not really happy with that, you can just increase that a bit later. Just the fact it exists in the behavior graph is actually important. So now I'm having my standing characters moving forward for a couple of frames before actually playing that standing stadium animation. So that looks actually pretty nice. So what if we'd like to add a bit more behavior? Maybe we'd like to trigger something at some point. Maybe we can maybe trigger a Mexican wave. So I can create pretty quickly like a plane geometry, move it a bit like here, and scaling it a bit so it covers the whole 8 of my sim. Okay, and I can trigger it, so I can animate it, sorry. So I'm gonna add a keyframe here, go at frame 50, add another keyframe, rest a bit, add another keyframe, and at frame 105 let's bring it back at its original position. So I should get okay, wave animation, stopping and going back. You know what, maybe I'm gonna move those keyframes a bit forward so the resting duration is a bit longer. Okay, so how do I now play a Mexican wave animation? So first thing I would like to do is I would like to play that Mexican wave animation only on the characters which are seated. So I'm gonna drag and drop a new motion behavior here. I'm gonna load an animation I've converted previously. So in Golaem motions, I have an animation called sit wave 1. If we take a look at that animation, it starts with a sit, make a transition to a wave, and goes back to sitting. Okay, so that animation, let's rename it wave. I'm gonna put it in parallel with the sit animation. So if I put the two behaviors at the same spot, it creates for me a parallel operator, which means the two behaviors will be played at the same time. So that's not exactly what we need, but I'll show you why I do that. Which means if I play my sim now, I'll get my characters doing some wacky stuff. You may see that if I click on the visual feedback, you may see that they're playing both the sit animation and the wave animation, and clearly that's not what I want, because they're blending with the same weight those two animation, and the result is just being at the middle of the two postures. So not really convenient here. What I would like to do is to say that this is the sit animation is going to be a high link animation. It's going to be played while nothing else is played on top of it, and this is what I want to play on top of it sometimes when something is happening. I don't want to stop my sit, start my wave, and restart my sit after that. I just want this behavior that's sit to just play it in the background, and whenever nothing else is played, this is going to be what controlling the posture, and when something happens, I want the wave to take the control. So to take the control, it means that I'm going to change the weighting attributes here. I want to say within the blending attribute into priority weight attribute, I want to say that it has more priority. So when two motion behaviors playing at the same time have the same priority, we're going to just look at what's the weight, and we're going to figure out how much weighting that motion will represent at the end. If the priority has been increased, it's higher in one behavior than the other, it means that that guy here will take the full control of the posture when it's going to be played, when it's going to be running. So now it means that even if the two motions are played at the same time, as the wave has more priority, what we see here is just the wave animation. But the thing is, right now it's not triggered by something. I would like to trigger it obviously when the plane goes by. I may want to also change the speed a bit just to have a bit more variety here. I don't want to change the start person because I want that animation to start as it's beginning. So what I will do is just now change my wave animation I want it to be triggered when the geometry, that keyframe plane goes under my character. So I'm going to use polygon zone trigger. Once again, I'm going to set it as root, and I'm going to connect the polygons within the triggers. So let's select the geo, press shift, press map, and now I've connected my geo. You can say if the trigger is 2D or 3D. 2D means that we're gonna just do a raycast and check if the projection of the character is within the 2D zone, or you can check if it's 3D, if it's a volume, and if the character is within the volume. So right now it's a plane, so I just want to check it as 2D. And next, what I want to do is specify when that behavior stops. So obviously when the plane goes by, it will start playing that animation, but as we haven't changed the stopping trigger, we now need to say that when the motion has been played for a while, I want to stop it. So played for a while, we've seen that earlier. It's by using the motion time trigger, setting it as root, and here we would like to say, okay, when we're going to play that animation at 90%, which is near to the end, we can just stop that animation. We don't need it to be played anymore. So let's take a look at how it looks like now. So I've got my characters. As soon as the plane goes by, up, they play the Mexican wave, and they just sit. So let's add a couple of more frames here, and maybe change those keyframes, put them a bit later, so I can show you something else. So now I've got my Mexican wave going on. Okay, good. So playing back, and if the plane goes by, you may notice that they're not rising up again. The thing is, as soon as they played that wave animation and they went out that wave animation, there's nothing which tells the system to go back to reevaluate that start trigger, which means when the simulation starts, it goes through the random, it says, okay, that character will sit. Okay, is there a plane coming by? No, 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 until the plane comes by and we play the wave. Should we stop that wave? Yes. And then the signal just goes out here and waits for that sit animation to also exit and play the rest of the graph. Which means if I select that character here, you can see and relaunch the sim, you can see that is evaluating that wave shape. As soon as the wave geo goes by, it plays the behavior, and when it played for 90% of its duration, it just stops and nothing has to be re-evaluated. So the signal just went out and doesn't go in again. So if I want to change that behavior, because here my plane goes by again, and once again I'm just change the keyframe so it's way longer in the sim. If I want this to be taken into account, and if I want that behavior to be re-entrant, I'm going to use another operator, which is the loop operator. So the loop operator allows, as soon as some graph within it exits, it allows to re-bring it back at the beginning. So by pressing Alt, I can just unconnect my wave behavior, put it into the loop, and I can put that loop back into my parallel operator. And now it means that as soon as my trigger goes by again, so let's check here, as soon as it goes out, okay, now you can see that the loop bring it back at the beginning, and now it's waiting for that trigger to be evaluated. And if the plane goes again, now that wave animation is triggered again. Okay, it's pretty good. Something I may want to change here is it's not really organic, the way they trigger the wave. As soon as the plane goes by, you can see they're clearly triggering that animation at the same time. So I may want to make it a bit more organic, so I may want to change my starting trigger here, and I may want to add a fade curve. So first I will check if am I in the curve, am I in the zone. So this is something that I really want to keep, and after that I will just add a bit of delay by using a fade curve. So going back into my attribute editor, I'm going to fade my curve on I don't know, 50 frames, so almost 2 seconds, and I'm going to draw a quick curve saying that at the beginning of the sim, I don't want at the beginning, sorry, of the trigger, the 50 frames after being into the zone, I don't want much of my characters to raise, but at the end I want to make sure that all of them are standing and playing the Mexican wave. So if I do this and rewind the sum, I should get something more organic. Now we're evaluating the curve at different frames and rising at different frame. Okay, not bad. If you just feel it's too long, you can just decrease this, saying, okay, I just want to delay on 25 frames and randomize within 25 frames. So when the frame goes by, okay, not bad. So I'm quite happy with that simulation so far. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to use that and reference that into a shot, an actual shot, and show you how you can use that simulation, that template of simulation within an actual shot.